today I'm going to be talking about a rather interesting video concerning Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. Now, Infinity Ward have actually put out a rather interesting tweet, as we're now currently more or less 9 days away from the big launch of Warzone 2.0 on the map MAZRAH. So we're going to take a look at a little bit of behind the scenes on how Infinity Ward designed MAZRAH in Warzone 2.0. So let's check this out.
How we designed MAZRAH in Warzone 2.0.
The biggest challenge to creating a map of this size is the amount of people that need to touch it.
MAZRAH is so large. We have so many POIs. You don't want to have a lot of diluted themes. So all of our locations are very interesting. There's a lot of visual elements that make each one iconic in its own way.
We really looked into city planning, just like things that usually run day to day in a real city. For example, like street signs, we try to make sure that we have these different locations mentioned in these signage. So we're trying to link all these places so the player has an understanding of where they are and where they're going.
Design's also going to kind of start with the idea of gameplay for a specific game mode. So we might design a location on the map as part of a ground war space, and then from there figure out how it can fit into the BR spaces, how it can fit into 6v6 game modes.
We mainly focus on how that space will be experienced by players. Especially with the hanging mechanic, as an example, really allows the players to parkour, travel through the maps, jumping from rooftops to rooftops, and then parachuting out of the space.
We now have a river flowing all the way through. We have boats, tunnels, different areas underneath water that the players can discover and find new ways to infiltrate certain areas.
Some of the new features that we're introducing in MAZRAH is the introduction of AI, which we have strongholds which are heavily guarded, buildings or locations in those points of interest that usually hold some of the better loot. Once you start engaging that, there's a good chance that other teams are going to hear you, and they're trying to reach the same loot. So it creates this awesome dynamic. You have these two teams or multiple teams engaging the same location, all to get to that good loot.
The players can really take advantage of the new terrain and play against their playstyle. If you want a vantage point, is the MWII Observatory. I personally like to drop down there and just kind of, you know, get my bearings. It's fairly open, so it's really easy to just dominate the space.
So what do you guys' thoughts of that? Let me know in the comments box down below, but that looks really interesting. And I can't wait for Warzone 2.0 to drop on November 16th. For those who don't know, I believe at some point later on this week we're going to learn about like a trailer, a roadmap of what to expect during Season 1 of Modern Warfare 2. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel for that. On top of this, Modern Warzone has actually found some breaking news concerning next year's Call of Duty Premium title. There will be a full premium Call of Duty title in 2023, despite previous reports of this not being the case on Activision's new financial release. So it looks like, following a 3-year period in which Call of Duty reached well over 500 million players and delivers a step change increase in engagement and player investment, these launch the mark of the start of a new era intended to take the franchise to new heights. Activision is looking forward to building on this current momentum in 2023, with plans for next year including the most robust Call of Duty live operations to date, the next full premium release in the blockbuster annual series, and even more engaging free-to-play experiences across platforms. So that's really interesting there. On top of this, Sledgehammer Games is developing the paid content expansion of Modern Warfare 2 releasing next year, as per Jason Schreier, who is a reporter for Bloomberg, co-host of New York Times, things like that. The expansion will have a lot of content and most likely be $70. Treyarch's next Call of Duty is still in 2024. So I'm just going to go onto Jason Schreier's Twitter account and just see what he has in store here. So as I said, let me make this super clear. Next game by Treyarch is coming out in 2024. Next year there will be a Modern Warfare 2 premium paid expansion by Sledgehammer. You're supposed to have lots of content, maybe that's why they call it a full release, but it's more Modern Warfare 2. So that's really interesting there, guys. I want to know what you guys' thoughts of that. Again, let me know in the comments box down below. Hope you guys found this video rather interesting. If you did, just smash the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bells for the same old videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace out.